Hi there again, readers and writers. It's me, Miss Wentling. Good to see you again. It's a new week, which means we'll be working on a different article starting today. Hope you're ready. Remember our guiding questions? Why are the world's freshwater sources threatened? And how do people persuade others to take action to contribute to a better world? Keep that first one in mind today as we read the article. But first, let's make sure that you have everything you need for today's lesson. Make sure you have a copy of the text, Shrinking Freshwater Resources, and we'll be using that text all week. It's located in your ELA packet on page 19. You're also going to need a copy of Lesson 5 and the Lesson 5 note catcher on pages 21 and 22 of your ELA packet. And like always, you're going to need a pencil to write with. Make sure it's nice and sharp and ready to write for today. Pause the video here and make sure you have all of the materials you need for this lesson. The learning target for today is, I can use strategies to figure out the meaning of words I do not know. A strategy is a plan of action or a way to do something. So first we're going to read the article, Shrinking Freshwater Resources. We'll be reading from this text all week, and today, like our learning target, we'll be focusing on some vocabulary. Make sure you have the article, Shrinking Freshwater Resources, located on page 19 in your ELA packet in front of you, and follow along as I read it out loud. While we're reading, look out for the sentences that have the word lack, access, and source. Again, those words that we're looking for are lack, access, and source. All right, let's get ready to read. Shrinking freshwater resources. Image 1, Iguazu Falls, border of Brazil and Argentina at dawn on June 23rd, 2007. Up to 1.6 million gallons of water a second pours over Iguazu Falls. In America, we have access to fresh water every day. All we have to do is turn on the tap. Fresh water is rare, though. Only a small part of all the water on Earth is fresh water. Most of it is salt water, such as what is found in the ocean. So here we have image 2. Most of the water on Earth is in the ocean. Only a small amount is fresh water. So let's take a closer look at this graphic. Water distribution on Earth, 97.5% is salt water, and 2.5% is fresh water. Of that 2.5% of fresh water, 69.5% is ice, and 30.1% is groundwater. And then of that 30.1% of groundwater, 0.4%, or 0.4%, is surface water. Most of the world's fresh water is hard to access. Much of it is locked away in the form of ice. It is found in glaciers and polar ice caps. Still more is found underground in the soil. Only a small part of Earth's fresh water is easy for humans to use. This fresh water is not equally spread around the world. A small group of countries has most of it. Some people live in areas with little fresh water. This lack of water creates many problems. Let's take a look at image 3. Water that flows slowly into the earth is called groundwater. It is stored in aquifers. Some aquifers can be refilled by rain and snow, while others cannot. Groundwater is a source of drinking water for many people. And now we're on to our next section of text, drinking water. Many people do not have safe drinking water. Instead, their water is dirty. Dirty drinking water often makes people sick. More than 3 million people die every year because they lack clean water. Charity groups want this to change. They have helped countries that are poor gain access to clean water. Some groups still need help, though. About 1 billion people are still without clean water. Fishing and farming. Fresh water is also important for business. For example, freshwater sources allow people to develop fisheries. People harvest fish from these habitats. They provide food for many people. Fisheries are both a source of food and a source of income. Fresh water is also important for farming. Much of the world's fresh water is used for farming. In the future, populations will continue to grow. That will create more demand for fresh water. Fighting over water. Let's take a look over here at this next image. Building site machines stand on the construction site of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam in Guba in the northwest of Ethiopia, November 24th, 2017. The dam is currently being built in the Blue Nile and is going to be the biggest dam in Africa. However, the construction leads to tension, especially with Egypt, that worries about its share of the Nile water. All right, let's read this next section, fighting over water. The fight over fresh water can be seen in politics. For example, Ethiopia and Egypt share the Nile River. They have fought over its water for a long time. Ethiopia is planning to dam part of the river. It wants to use the water to create electricity. Egypt is worried about this. The country fears it might lose access to the Nile's water. Fights over water are common. They even happen in the United States. One major debate concerns the Colorado River system. It supplies water to 7 states. A recent drought has reduced water flow. The states now have less water to share. Population growth will create additional challenges. Fights over water will become even more common in the future. So there was some challenging vocabulary in this article. And to determine the main idea and supporting details, which we'll do tomorrow, it's important to understand the text. Remember that close readers use strategies to figure out the meanings of words they don't know. You can use context by reading the sentences around the word. You can look at the affixes for clues. Remember, affixes are word parts that can be in the beginning or the end of the word. Like in the word disapproving, dis and ing are affixes. You can also look at the root of the word for clues. Like in the word disapproving, approve is the base word. And you can always also use a dictionary. I'd like you to think about the meaning of lack, access, and source in the sentences that you just read. Pause the video here while you think. All right, now it's time to talk about the text with a family member, caregiver, or friend. Have a discussion about these 2 questions. The first question is, what is the definition of lack, access, and source in your own words? And the second question is, what strategy did you use to figure out the meaning? I'd like you to pause here while you discuss. All right, you read, thought, and talked about the text. Now it's time to write. Using the Lesson 5 note catcher, create a glossary to write the definitions of each word in your own words and what strategy you use to determine that definition. Remember, a glossary is a place you can look for definitions of important words in a text. So you're going to make your own today. If you take a look at that note catcher, in the first column are the words you're defining. In the second column is the definition in your own words. And in that third column is the strategy that you used to find the definition. Pause here and complete your writing task on the note catcher. Nice job. It's time for us to wrap up this lesson. Make sure you share your definitions from your glossary with someone and tell them how you defined the meaning of the words. Also, please remember to spend 20 minutes reading with a family member, caregiver, or friend. Before we finish up, let's think back to our learning target for today. I can use strategies to figure out the meaning of words I do not know. Take a few moments here and think about whether you met this learning target for today. I also want you to work on your fluency practice. Use a timer like a cell phone timer, a kitchen timer, any timer you have around, or have someone count to 60 while you read the passage for 1 minute. Count the words you read and write that number at the top of the article. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for joining and learning with me. Can't wait to see you again tomorrow. We'll be finding the main idea and the supporting details of the article. All right, bye.